All right, so it's a beautiful day. It's the first sunny day we've had in probably 4 days here in West Virginia, the central part, and I'm so excited because today I am getting ready to put together the cutting garden. And right now I'm just picking up, getting buckets full of my compost to put on top of the soil, which I checked with Florette Flowers. She's who inspired me. And so I checked with her. I messaged her on her Facebook page. I said, now I've taken the sod off my soil. I'm doing an annual cutting garden due to your inspiration. Now what do I add to my soil? And she said, use compost, a good organic garden fertilizer like Garden Tone, Plant Tone. Any fertilizer that you have would work, and I've got some Garden Tone, which is good for vegetables and flowers. So I'm getting ready to do that. I've already taken my shovel and turned the soil over, and I'm getting ready to put the compost and the fertilizer, and I'll show you how I took the sod off too. So let me just get this stuff over to the area, and I'll bring you back to the site. So, anyhow, getting excited for this flower garden. I didn't set up a camera to show you how I got the sod off, but my tool of choice, I started out, was going to be a flat shovel, and it didn't work as well as I thought it would. I did this on a day after it rained, and so the new grass, this has just been sown last year and it really looks good, came off. But whenever you've taken sod off, and I keep assuming everyone's taken sod off their gardens, but if you haven't, it takes a little bit of time and some energy, but it's well worth it. So I went to my favorite tool, which is the mattock. And I like it because I like the way it can get under the sod. It's weighted. And then what you can do with your sod once you take it off, and this is another tip. I like using the mattock. I like to take the sod off after it's been a little cool and it's rained. But then I take any sod and place it in your yard if you have any bare spots. And I just dig the soil up with a little digger-like thing, like this. And dig the soil up before you put your sod down. Lay your nice chunk of sod on that. Keep it nice and moist. The spring's a great time to do that kind of stuff because you know it's going to rain, hopefully. In our area it does. And it should patch right over. I can see that mine have, where I started this maybe 10 days ago, it's already taken hold and it doesn't look like it's dried out. But anyhow, when you use your mattock, and I suggest you try a mattock, or like I said, a flat bladed shovel will work. Just you want to get the sod off, not a big clump of dirt. And all you do is you take your mattock and it gets right under that sod, just like that. You can lift it up and you can see that it just took the sod, not a big chunk of dirt. I'm going to lay this back down there, keep it watered, and it'll edge up to where my edging is going to be for this project. So eventually, it took me, I don't know, I didn't spend more than a couple hours, but I did 1 hour a day and got it all off. And now I have been in this morning, taken my shovel, and this dirt is better than what I thought it was going to be. Turning it over, just like that, giving it a little toss around, and now I've started putting compost on the top. I have buckets of compost right here. And if you don't have your own compost, you can pick up compost at any of your large farm stores or, your Lowe's, your Home Depot. So we'll put that on there, give it a nice layer, and then I'm going to use my garden food, which is a Garden Tone, and you can use it to fertilize all your plants. It says right here, for flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs, so it's a real all-purpose. And I will just go through and sprinkle this on top. I know I'm out of the camera. Sprinkle that on top. And then my other tool of choice that I'm going to like is this little cultivator. And I'll show you that up here. I like this little cultivating tool because what I'll do is I will then work my compost and my fertilizer in that top part of the soil, just like that. And it will be ready when my plants are ready that are in the basement getting ready for their time out in the yard, which will hopefully be, like I said, between May 5th and May 15th. Now the other thing I wanted to show you is how I'm going to edge this, because I thought at first I was going to take all of this grass out, clear down to my stone walkway here. And I decided not to for two reasons. Since I've never done an annual cutting garden, and I'm a perennial gardener mainly, I didn't know how well I'd like it. And if I don't like it, I plan to put it all back in grass seed. So I'm going to start out smaller, although it'll hold all of my cosmos, my tall snapdragons, the sunflowers, zinnias, so it'll be really pretty. But I'm going to see if I really like tending to annuals. I don't know how much trouble they are in a flower bed like this, so I went a little smaller, but you can see it's got a lot of space and it'll be beautiful. And I will gradually, I'll put the taller ones in the back and come forward. But to keep the grass from getting into the flower bed, I've decided to use a piece of 2x8, and I'll show you what that looks like. Get this out of the way. And to support the 2x8, even though it's not going to be holding back soil because it's not a lot of weight, it's just to keep the grass from encroaching, I've put in a couple pieces of rebar on either side. And you could use wood pieces, but we happen to have some rebar right here that we've had. Let me angle this a little bit better so you can see. Okay, right here it is. So we've had rebar, and so I've cut two small pieces, spray painted in black, and just used this nice little metal cutting tool. And that's a fun thing to use. I'd never used one, and Reg had one in his workshop. Oh. And so don't worry about the little sparks flying. They didn't bother me. Let's see if I can get this turned on. And it cuts it in a hurry. Maybe. There we go. Maybe. So you just measure. There you go. That's fun. You know, I'm not a woodworker, but anyhow, I cut that off and I then spray painted them black. And so it's going to be my support for this nice big piece of wood to keep the grass out of there. And there you have it. So I've got a nice edging. We had a piece of 2x8, cut it to the width, and had the rebar. Like I said, you could just use wood supports on either side of that, but you know, using a hand tool is exciting. But there you have it. So I'm going to continue today putting my compost, my fertilizer, get that worked in, have it ready for my plants when they're ready to go, and spend the rest of the day. Probably we have frost scheduled here in a couple days, and I need to plan on how I'm going to cover everything. I did pick up a roll of frost-free covering that I've never used, and it's lighter weight than using my sheets and towels and buckets. And if you have any comments about that, I'd like to hear about that. But anyhow, let me know any comments about your cut gardens and what you do and how you do them. And the next time we'll be seeing you for another project, hopefully planting some planters. So thanks for watching. See you the next time. Bye.